Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be installing these new ditch lights from a company called Novsight. These things are some nice looking lights that, look similar to a lot of those bigger name brand lights that are really expensive, but these are a little bit more budget minded. So again, I'm going to be installing these on my 2023 Frontier. This could be done on any sort of vehicle, truck, SUV, anything that you're going to take out camping or overlanding that you need some extra light for. So again, I'm going to walk you through it sort of step by step. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box and what you get with these lights, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to install them on my Frontier. So if you want to learn more about these lights and how to install them, stay tuned. Okay, so first let's start with what comes in the box. Obviously you're going to get two of the lights. As you can see, I've taken one of them out already. They do come with a black cover, which is really nice looking. So if you just want to kind of keep them protected when you're not using them, this is kind of nice. Or they come with this amber cover. And one thing that I really like is how they snap on. So they basically just have these little clips on the four corners here, and you just sort of slide it on and they click in place, and they're very stable and sturdy, so you don't have to worry about them coming off. Of course, if you don't put any covers on them, you just get white light. With this, you get the sort of amber light. Again, with the black cover, just a cover when you're not using them to keep them protected, but you got options, and I like that. Another thing that I'm really impressed with is that they have these really nice Deutsch connectors, so it makes install a breeze, which I'm really excited about. Now, on top of the lights, and I've already taken this out, is another box, which has all of your harnesses and your relays and everything. So again, it's just basically plug and play. It even comes with a push button switch here. I may actually replace that with one that fits into the existing stock holes in my dash, but we'll see what I do with that. Now back here behind the lights, you've got these little boxes, and I was kind of curious what those were, but I'll show you. These are basically mounting brackets. Now in my case, I have one of the newer vehicles that doesn't really have ditch light brackets out for it yet, so I ended up just picking up some pretty budget-minded clamping hood mount style mounts for lights from Nilight. So I'll put a link in the description down below to this, as well as these lights, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm using something slightly different because my 2023 Frontier doesn't have hood brackets, or if they do, I haven't found them yet, and I just kind of like this clamp style, because then that way I don't have to cut. I have seen some people that must have either fabricated their own or found some sort of ditch light brackets, but they have to cut the plastic piece that goes under the hood, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to use these pinch type ones from Nilight to install them without having to cut anything. And that's pretty much what comes in the box. So again, you do get mounts if you can use this style. What I'm actually probably going to have to do is I will use these brackets and then mount this bracket to the light, and then also mount the bottom to that pinch mount. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to affix the bracket to the light, because then of course I'm going to affix this bracket to the pinch style mount that I'm going to use to put it on my hood. But I'm going to go ahead and get these all put on here first, just so they're ready to go. One thing to be careful of is there's not a ton of room in the bottom down here, so you want to go ahead and drop your bolt in there before you get it tight, so that you can fit it in there and then be ready to put it down through the hole. So actually, before I put these on, I'm going to put that bolt down there through there first, and then I'm going to put these two little side Allen screws that are provided with the lights into the sides to hold the bracket to it, and then we're ready to put them on the mounts. You'll notice inside the bracket here that there are like some raised indentations. That's so that when you drop that bolt down through there, it gets held in place so it won't turn. When you're putting the nut on the bottom of this, then that keeps that bolt from turning, so that you can get the nut tightened on there and be good to go once you get it on the mount. So again, now that we've got our bolt down through there, we're going to put the light on here. The way that it seems to fit naturally, and the way that I think it's supposed to go, is where the bracket actually kind of angles back. So again, that's kind of what it should look like. Just line up your holes in the side, drop your smaller little bolts down through, and you should be good to go with that. It does have some adjustability to it, so that, before you tighten them down, kind of get them lined up. Again, I'm just kind of putting this all together finger tight right now so that I can get them mounted on the hood, and then once I get them where I want them, I'm going to use my Allen wrenches that they provide with these lights just to tighten them down and hold them exactly where I want them to be. They do come with some locking washers, so make sure you use those inside of these bolts just to keep them from coming undone once you get them all mounted. Another thing I'm kind of impressed with is that this hardware is pretty heavy duty. It's pretty nice looking stuff. Seems pretty stout. I like the Allen wrench heads. makes it a little bit easier. The fact that everything's provided is kind of nice. So then once you have it on your bracket, this is what it should look like. Again, with the bolt pre-installed, because you don't really have room to install that after you've got the light in the bracket. These are just finger tight up here so that, again, I can get them mounted, make sure that they're lined up the way I want, and then I'll tighten everything down at the very end. Now to show you these Nilight mounts, I actually really like these, and they were really inexpensive. So again, I'll put a link in the description down below, but basically this is all that they are. They've got a rubber cover on the top so it protects your hood and keeps it from getting scratched up. This thing is also adjustable, so again, once I get my light on there, I have the adjustment of the mount, and then I also have the adjustment of the brackets themselves on the light. And then below that rubber mount, there is this little metal sort of pinch pad, I guess you would call it. And basically as you tighten these Allen head things up, then that will push that metal against it. But what I like about the metal being there is at least it's not just the bare screws that could damage your paint. This sort of helps distribute that so that it doesn't hurt your hood. So I actually really like that. And again, these things are about 11, 12 bucks, I think, so really good deal. As you can see, the bolt is pretty long, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the nut on there. I'm gonna kind of angle it like that, so I can get the nut on there and get it sort of tightened up past sort of the bracket itself. And then once I do that, then I'll be able to actually tighten it down and get it on there securely. Once that's done, then I'm gonna actually affix this to the hood. Then my, Deutsch connector will be hanging loose. I can run that back through the hood, and then I can hook it all up to the relays and all the wiring harness that comes with it, and run my switch into the cab, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Just FYI, this nut that comes with the Novsight lights is a 13 mil. So that's what you'll need to tighten that down. Once you get it mounted on the bracket, you can just sort of slowly tighten that down. And then once you get it where you want it, then you should be good to go. And then again, you've still got the adjustment on the bracket itself. So once I get these mounted, then I'll be able to adjust them. Then I'll tighten down the side pieces and we'll be all set. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use this Allen wrench that's provided with the Nilight mounts as a measuring stick, basically. So I'm just gonna take it from the very edge of the hood, where the hood folds there, and I'm gonna sort of lay it down flat, and then I'm gonna move the mount over till it touches that, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side, just so that they're consistent, they're evenly spaced. I don't need any other tools to do that. So just kind of a little tip for how to align these if you want, and I kind of like that distance from the edge of the hood. So we'll tighten down this Nilight mount now. It can be a little tricky working under the hood like this. These clearances on the newer trucks are pretty tight, actually. So then once you get those all three tightened down there on the Nilight mount, that pinch plate up there you can see is pushed up against the underliner, which again, I really like that spreads the distribution of the pressure from those, so that you're not just putting three, threaded screws into the bottom of your hood. And then on the top, it should look something like that. And again, it is basically just one Allen wrench length from the edge of the hood there. So I'm gonna go do the exact same thing on the other side, and then all we have to do is wire it up, run our switch inside the cab, and we're done. All right, so if you are doing this on a 2022 or 2023 Frontier, just some tips for you here. So right back here in front of basically where the driver sits, there is a rubber gasket down in there that you can pull loose, and then you can run your wires down through it. You may have to cut a little slit in it to get the wires through the first time. Then you could RTV it back up and stuff, but this is where your wires are gonna go. Now when you come over here to the battery, for you Nissan guys, these are 12 mils. So to remove the posts, the top nut here, those are 12 mils. Then I sort of tucked my wires down behind here. For now, I've just kind of stuck the relay up in there behind this sort of positive wire. And then as you can see, it comes with basically just two wires, right? With a built-in inline blade fuse, which is pretty nice just in case as a backup. But then I'm gonna put the red on the positive, the black on the negative. I'm gonna hook up these Deutsch connectors to each light and run those wires out of the way and zip tie them up out of the way. Plug them into the connectors coming from the lights here on both sides. And then I'm ready to go. All I have to do is turn the truck on, hit the button, and I've got ditch lights. All right guys, so they are installed, they're on. I'm gonna try and get some video here at night when it gets a little bit darker to show you how bright they are. Just wanted to take a quick video. It's starting to get a little dark of the ditch lights. I actually kind of like how they're kind of like a focused beam. Now I'm really close to the garage right now, right? So this isn't the best example. I'll have to get some next time I go off-road or through the woods with these things to see how much they illuminate, but they seem pretty decent. And you can see how dark it is. But so far, super impressed. Really easy to hook up. Literally just those two Deutsch plugs plugged into the harness, positive and negative plugged to the battery, and then the switch run inside. Again, I may switch out that switch at some point. I may switch the switch. But for now, it's working just fine. Only thing I don't like is it does have a red light that stays on when the lights are off, so just worry a little bit about parasitic loss. But regardless, really, really like the light so far. As I mentioned, there will be links in the description to the Nilight brackets that I used, as well as these Novsight lights. So definitely check those out. If you're looking for a good set of budget-minded ditch lights, these may be a good option. Hopefully the video was helpful. If it was, click that like button. If you're not already, click the subscribe button. Click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. I do a couple of like do-it-yourself mods or gear reviews or newbie overlanding style videos and podcast every week. So if you're into any of that stuff, check out the links in the description below. Also in the description below will be links to my Patreon page. So if you want to join that, we've got a Discord that goes 24/7, and we do a once a month call where we all kind of hang out and talk about our builds and rigs and gear. And then there's also, last but not least, the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Totally free to join, tons of awesome members in it. So if you're newer, or if you're experienced and you want to help newer folks and you're tired of all the animosity and toxicity on the bigger boards, come and hang out in that group as well. But again, I hope that was helpful for you, and we'll see you next time.